The ISA are done. I've beat Grundy. And Cindy Berman probably got crushed when the dish caved in.
The others could...
What others? Court? Dragon King is dead. Tigress and Sportsmaster, they're locked up.
We're the Justice Society of America. We can't quit. I've got a responsibility as Stargirl to stay vigilant.
You got a responsibility as school.
I think you're looking for trouble, Court.
You have to decide if putting on that mask is worth messing up everything else in your life.
Being a superhero doesn't mean that the rest of your life takes a back seat. It's about finding a balance.
The staff chose me for a reason that goes beyond the Injustice Society. Who are you? I'm Green Lantern's daughter.
There's this villain from the old days.
Why is he in Blue Valley?
Something very bad.
We're never gonna stop fighting to protect the world from people like you.
Don't you teach these children any manners?
Stargirl. New episodes start August 10th. Free next day only on the CW app.
God damn, it feels good to say welcome back to a brand new Stargirl Season 2 trailer breakdown. Now, the very strange thing about this, honestly, is that yesterday I uploaded the Batman video when this trailer came out, which is why I thought I'd wait till today. But I did think of tweeting yesterday. I don't know why I didn't, so I know this sounds like I was going to say this, but I didn't. I was going to say, so where's the Stargirl Season 2 trailer? And then lo and behold, it came out that very day. In this trailer, we got a release date of August 10th, as well as some major teasers for Green Lantern, the main villain, if you will, in a way, the Shade. Some other little cool tidbits, things that you may have missed, some extra context if you look a little bit deeper that the trailer gave us. But other than that, guys, like this video if you do go on to enjoy it. I'd really appreciate that. Subscribe for more Stargirl updates and reviews and breakdowns, everything like that, of course. And a big thank you to all my channel members and patrons appearing on screen for helping me do what I do on this channel. It really means a lot to me. You guys rock. But let's get into the breakdown. So the trailer begins with very, very mini recap of the big ISA battle between the new JSA and the old ISA, the OG ISA, I suppose you could say, at the end of last season. The clips pick up, and kind of the season, if you will, almost, perhaps, we're going to have to wait and see, with Rick saying and pointing out that the ISA are done. He beat Grundy and got through his own journey, so to speak. Dragon King is dead. And I'm glad that they also mentioned Tigress and Sportsmaster. Apparently they're locked up, which must have happened off screen. Kind of convenient, but I mean, unless I'm forgetting something, because I was thinking about, okay, so what about those guys? What about the gambler? Are they kind of still out there in the wind? So yeah, I'm not going to say that's an oversight or anything because we haven't seen the first episode, because we get some context as to the time that has passed since the end of last season to now, which I'll get into in a little bit. But yeah, apparently Tigress and Sportsmaster are locked up. They also point out that Cindy Berman, aka Shiv, probably got crushed when the satellite caved in, but one thing that would definitely bring the new JSA together after it seems like they're gonna part ways in this moment is actually Cindy, aka Shiv, and of course the Shade, but we can't forget what Cindy's up to in the background, and that may have something to do with a little guy named Eclipso. Now, some interesting details that I noticed in this very first scene. Notice how the new Dr. Midnight, aka Beth Chapel, vice versa here, has her goggles. So whatever has transpired in this scene here for them to be in costumes might have been like a routine crime sweep kind of thing, and they've obviously come to the realization in this scene that maybe they don't need to go this hardcore as a JSA group since the threat is so minimal in the town, and this would mean that some time has naturally passed, and as a result of that, it seems that Beth Chapel's goggles, or Chuck, you could say, that were destroyed at the end of last season, or at least broke, have been fixed. Now, I'm sure this isn't going to be an oversight. As I said, there's probably going to be a mini montage or something from the time that passed at the end of last season where her goggles were broken to the point of where they're suited up again now, her goggles are fixed, and they're like, yeah, well, do we need to carry this on? Everyone's just, you know, out in the wind, either locked up or dead. Do we need to carry this on? But yeah, super interested to see how, and I'm sure a lot of fans want to see how she comes to fixing Chuck, reprogramming Chuck, if that even needs to happen, through, I'm sure, maybe some JSA artifact or like guide that Dr. Midnight himself wrote down. That'd be pretty cool to see that character get into all of that. Other details that I really appreciated in the trailer is amongst all of the scenes of Courtney going ham and just saying that she has a responsibility as Stargirl to stay vigilant, she's actually looking over some JSA files. Like, she's really educating herself. And it seems like these are some old case files. And I really love nerding out on like little things like this because it makes sense. The JSA have a whole HQ, we've seen that, and there's bound to be files and little details that they've written up, like age, what their appearance is normally like. We've seen that with Pat's records before, so she's really educating herself, and it seems that there's a member or two that I can't really make out on the floor there, but it's definitely like perhaps an ex-villain, or a villain that was perhaps maybe a loose end that the JSA may never have actually gotten to wrapping up with certain villains. That's like another whole thing to consider. She wants to be aware, she wants to be alert, she wants to be educated on what is possibly out there as the kind of new leader of the new JSA. So I really like that personally. But obviously from the family's perspective, this is like, yeah, but you're still in high school, Court. And we have Pat and her mother, understandably so, saying that she's got a responsibility to school and just her life in general. I mean, after all, they are literally in high school. That's something we can't forget about the whole premise of this show. And even though Pat knows a bit better than that to completely disregard Courtney as Stargirl and whatnot, which he's not doing, since he knows how helpful she's been, he's also an adult, and he's also very much so aware that she is a kid. Now, we saw a lot more of that at the beginning and how he didn't want her to have anything to do with all of that, but then he accepted it. But obviously, there's a lot of the reality of the situation that is being teased. We also get more context to what we've been talking about with a shot of Yolanda and Courtney in the lunch queue at high school, with Yolanda saying that you're looking for trouble, Court, just further implying that the other new JSA members really don't think that there's a threat out there anymore. But oh boy, couldn't they be any further from the truth? We've got Eclipso coming, the Shade, and other little tidbits that are still very much so out there. Now, this next moment in the trailer, we actually see with Courtney's mother when she says, you're going to have to decide if putting on that mask is worth messing up everything else in your life. And I'm pretty sure this could have been a moment of where she's had to come in with Pat maybe to review her grades with a teacher or something due to them slipping because of her distraction and commitment to the new JSA, which would make sense. And I still think this is cool. There's some people who really disregard this part of like the show, but as I want to emphasize, this is about a new JSA of teenagers, so this would be a realistic thing to approach in the show. And also, very importantly here, it does seem as though to be something that happens at the end of her school term, as all of the lockers are cleared, and there are posters in the background saying, have a great summer. So I guess some good news for people who don't want so much high schooly stuff, that this season the majority will take place in the summer break. I know we've got some high school scenes, but I think that's right at the end of the term. Maybe Pat and her mom have to come in, and like teachers is like saying, okay, we're about to go on summer break, but look at Court, look at all the work that she slipped behind on because of something. Is your daughter distracted? What is she up to in her spare time? So something like that, maybe. That's what I predict for this scene. But yeah, I don't mind high school stuff, but I'm glad that it's potentially and most likely, well, it looks like it is, taking place when they're out of school. So it's like all of the villain stuff, the Shade, Eclipso, all of that won't be taking place when they're meant to be attending high school. I think they're maybe chopping out some of the slightly weaker stuff from last season. I'm not saying it was all weak. Like when we had Brainwave come in the high school assembly or whatever it was, and that's when Courtney and him met for the first time when they were trying to find each other. That stuff was interesting, but other than that, is school really going to be something the audience want to see as much as the other things they could offer us, which they can cut that screen time out and dive fully into what else they've got prepared for us this season. So I think summer break is a perfect time to put it. But then, ladies and gentlemen, this is when the cool shit happens in the trailer. Not to say that that wasn't cool, but like this is when the cool shit really happens. So this is where we see Alan Scott's Green Lantern power battery just glowing, just like last season, but even more so, and I think we all know why. But before we get more into that, I'm trying to do this trailer breakdown very chronological because, yeah, why not? So the next clip cuts to a scene of Cindy entering Blue Valley High during the summer break, and you can still see that the lockers are cleared. You see have a nice summer or whatever it is in the background on the banner, and she's entering the secret passage to the ISA HQ. Now, there are certain scenes in this trailer that I still expected to see, but I still expect to get more More trailers, by the way, because even though this says extended trailer, that implies we got a season 2 trailer before, and technically we did, but it showed nothing. Like nothing. So I take this as the first trailer, not really an extended one. But yeah, I'll get into what I expected maybe to still be teased in this trailer and what I still think is coming a little bit later. Now in this next very interesting clip, very short but very interesting to me at least, we see Yolanda in the church. The thing that I take out of this scene is how upset Yolanda is. We can clearly see that she's had tears running down her face. Now this takes me back to all the teasers for her character for this season, consisting of being very dark teasers, kind of contrasting Rick in season 1. So I'm going to abbreviate what they've said here from the top of my head, but I'm very confident it's more along the lines of, for example, season 1, Rick / Hourman was dark, he wanted to do this, he wanted to do that, he wanted to get Grundy, and he was actually prepared to kill Grundy. But then he realized he didn't have to, and he actually stepped away, which was an amazing character arc in general, and I really enjoyed that. Whereas Yolanda, it kind of, as I said, contrasting. She wasn't ready to kill anyone. She wasn't really in that place. She was in a dark place because of the stuff that happened with Jake Austin Walker's Brainwave Jr., but you see what I'm trying to get at here. She wasn't really ready nor prepared to kill, but did it anyway, and we'll be seeing her deal with that this season. Now, as I said, this is me abbreviating what we've heard, but you get the idea. She's dealing with the fact that even though she killed a supervillain, to be honest, it was more of a straight-up execution swipe that happened to Brainwave, you know, in that moment. You know, she's going to deal with something that's realistic. Even if you kill a bad guy, the humanity, if you have a bit of humanity in you, will not be fully recovered from that in just a, oh, I killed a bad guy. Do you know what I mean? So, interested to see her story this season in regards to that. And I think she even could be potentially a target for someone like Eclipso. It depends if they're going to do body hopping with him, because he can jump into people, especially the darker kind of foundation you have. So, just sprinkling ideas out there a little bit. But moving onwards and upwards, this is when we see Courtney hear a noise in her house. She equips the staff to go check it out, and we hear her say, "Who are you?" amongst the action scenes that we get in the trailer, and we see her fight Alan Scott's daughter, and we get an amazing, I love this so much. We see the ring really charged up, and she's at this current moment turned opposite Courtney, and she turns round to go strike Courtney, and it's filled with such Green Lantern energy that the blast sends Stargirl flying the crap back. I just love that. It shows the capacity that Alan Scott's daughter Jade has here, even though Courtney is equipping the staff. Like, it's fantastic to see. Then we hear her say it, "I'm Green Lantern's daughter," and that is Jade, by the way, and Courtney's just kind of like shook, because obviously she's had some of these artifacts with no legacy person or anyone to come knocking to collect them, but this is the first, and that is the daughter of Alan Scott's Green Lantern. So, can't wait for that, and I've got some ideas. Even though I said chronological, there is a scene later on in the trailer that I want to tie to this moment, which I have a couple of ideas about. So we see the JSA members in their normal clothes get blasted back by this green energy. So I'm wondering if that is related. I'm pretty sure it is, just with the green matching exactly the projectile and the punch that Jade did to Courtney in her house. I'm thinking she could be reluctant to join the JSA at first. She might be coming from the perspective of, not in a cocky kind of patronizing way, but I'm Alan Scott's daughter, I'm just taking what's mine, and I'm going to fulfill his legacy, but that doesn't mean I have to join you guys. So maybe they're trying to initially, this won't go on long-winded, I don't think, but initially they're trying to get her on board, thinking, look, hey, we're legacy people as well, kinda. The staff chose me, that's our man's son, blah, 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 blah. So how about you join us? And maybe there may be a little, I know it sounds a bit harsh, but maybe she does send out, now she's got the battery and the ring combined, maybe she sends out a blast, and that is what we're seeing here. I would love your thoughts on that. And then, guys, we get some peeks at what is pitched to be one of the main villains, and that is the Shade. Now, Pat says there's a villain from the old days. When asked why is he in Blue Valley, we get another part cut from a different part of the trailer, but, you know, the message is the same, just saying something very bad. Now, don't forget that Pat has quite a history with the Shade, going back to the original ISA, and we'll get into a little bit more as to why the Shade is got quite a dynamic, something that changes it up from the atypical villains. And I love this shot because it's in Pat's garage or shop again, and he's probably debriefing what the JSA needs to come together for again, and that their work isn't over, or kind of like, guys, you need to be aware, the Shade's in town. And you see Courtney just so effing ready for this, just like that. The others are probably like, okay, fair enough, there is something to do now, okay, we're gonna come together. But Courtney's like, I told you. Very interestingly, guys, in that scene we were just talking about, we see Mike there. Now, you could just say that it's Pat's son, he wants to kind of be involved in it, albeit that he's not got like a superhero mantle to take on for himself. But in the next scene, we see Mike once again, who seems to have fallen off his bike during his paper round, which, don't forget, that's what his dad wanted, kind of made him do last season. And he must have been carrying the pen with him, and it hit the floor because Thunderbolt, the genie, is released from the pink pen. And we hear a tease of the wish-granting genie, Thunderbolt, which is also voiced by Jim Gaffigan, by the way, saying, yeah, I guess just being happy, being out in the world, and like this is kind of his personality anyway. Personally, I think the CGI is kind of what you would expect. This is very, very, very quick, so I'm probably playing it in slow-mo to give a little bit of a better idea compared to the fast-paced scene swiping stuff they have in the trailer. Can't wait for this, but what made me even more intrigued about this scene is that here it makes it look, or makes me think for a split second that, oh wow, what if Mike is equipping the pink pen for some time, and they're maybe changing it up a bit. But however, we can't forget that we do know that Jakeem Thunder has also been cast in Season 2. Alcoya Brunson, I believe that's how you pronounce the name, is playing him. So we are getting Jakeem Thunder. So this makes me wonder, how does Jakeem get the pen? As a result of that, why does Mike give up something that could make him more involved in the JSA business? Does Pat have anything to do with that? But if that was me, I would low-key resent my dad for not letting me like equip the pink pen. I'm really looking forward to see how that unfolds, considering it seems that one of the first instances of the Thunderbolt coming out is through Mike. And another very quick scene as we see the Thunderbolt basically racing around Pat's garage like the Flash. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I'm guessing that's because we have Mike bring the fact that, hey, Dad, I got something to tell you. And then that's when this scene happens, maybe. But cannot wait, cannot wait. Up next, continuing along the Cindy/Shiv route, we see Cindy Berman's stepmom, Bobby Berman. God, this is almost tongue-twisty for me. If you guys remember, she's basically treated kind of like this slave at home last season, and in this moment, she pulls out a knife on Cindy, so I wonder if she's still kind of probably manipulated by Dragon King to serve Cindy, but at the same time, why would she pull out a knife if she was to do that? So either way, Cindy's coming home, she's approaching her stepmom. I guess she wants to use her in some way. It seems that Cindy is, for now, potentially playing on the fact or the advantage that she thinks and knows that the JSA, the new JSA kids, think that she's dead, which is only going to serve as a good element of surprise for her, especially with the little diamond that she's carrying, housing Eclipso. The trailer also features Stripe getting a few upgrades, and then, guys, we see the JSA have a dinner or kind of meeting with the Shade. We hear Stargirl saying that we're never going to stop fighting to protect the world from people like you, and we also get a clip of Pat there with the JSA, and as I said, that this kind of dinner meeting or like kind of like stalemate, also like the flags are down, it's like, let's discuss this to kind of touch base, I suppose, because don't forget, I got kicked out the JSA. I'm not kind of who you maybe think I am, albeit he's not trustworthy, and that is what I want to get into, because don't forget that the Shade was kind of kicked out of the ISA beforehand, and he's been teased as more than just a straight up villain to what I likened to be like Icicle beforehand. Like, he's not that. He's obviously not to be trusted, but seeing this scene here, it really doesn't surprise me. He's willing to talk with the heroes. Maybe it's a situation of where they actually, because of Courtney's inquisitive attitude about anything and everything to carry on the JSA and its mission, maybe she finds him inadvertently there, and then that leads into this dinner meeting. But regardless, he's willing to talk with the heroes, and Pat obviously has a past with him, indicating that we're going to learn a lot more about this villain, if you will, who isn't as villain impulsive as Icicle, Jordan Markent, was last season. Now, we could speculate all day about why they're talking and why Courtney gave that specific approach, like, we're never going to stop trying to, like, stop people like you kind of thing. Maybe that's because he's like, look, ISA are gone, I'm clearly not ISA, I may not be the best guy in the world, but you don't need to be around anymore kind of thing. And you can trust what I'm doing here. I'm just going to change up the HQ a bit, but keep it running. And that's when Courtney's like, not buying it at all. I don't trust you kind of thing. Whatever you're up to here, you need to divulge your plans to me because whatever you're keeping secret isn't... Do you see what I mean? I think it might be that approach initially. And that's what the Shade is like. As I said, not straight up villain, but that's also going to be backed up by another villain, which is what I said I'd get into very, very, very briefly. I wanted to kind of see in this trailer, but at the same time, not mad at all because I think we're going to get more. And that is Eclipso. I thought we would have seen, especially in the fast-paced cutscenes of, for example, how fast Thunderbolt was just displayed on the screen and then gone. I thought they would have featured Nick Tarabay, who's playing Eclipso, in what you're seeing on screen right now, the Eclipso look, very quickly. But they decided not to, which is very interesting. They could have done it very quickly to be like, oh, that looks good, you know, but they didn't. So, very interesting because we can't forget about him. But that was mainly the trailer. I don't want to blabber on anymore because I've been blabbering on enough as it is. I'm just so excited about this, which is why I wanted to get into every nitty-gritty detail that this trailer could give us. I'm a big fan of Stargirl. Even though it's more of a light-hearted vibe show, the thing that is so refreshing to me, out of all the other CW shows, well, technically not Superman and Lois because this has the same factors that I'm about to list to you, the cinematography and approach to directing each episode and whatnot is such a refreshing feel from the other CW shows other than Superman and Lois, and that's because mainly this came from DC Universe and then the CW purchased it and they weren't going to change the way they approach the filming and whatnot. So it's completely different from the formulaic approach. Every episode is main plot driven, thank God. So you get why I really love this. Plus it's heroes and exploring lore of areas that I really, really like seeing with like the JSA and stuff. So I'm so ready for Season 2. What did you think of this? Down in the comments below, what did you think of what my breakdown listed and any theories that you may resonate with? I would love to know your feedback on that. And other than that, guys, just like the video. It really does help out. Subscribe for more breakdowns like this if you're brand new here. And of course, I have links in the top pinned comment if you want to follow me on more on Twitter. Join my own Discord server where you can talk to me and others in a little community about all of this on the old keyboard and the old channels that we've got there. And there's more than Stargirl. We've got Batman. We've got loads of channels. So, yeah. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. And I'll see you members of the JSA in the next video. Goodbye.